Hi, my name is Zann Jones. I'm going to be taking you through the steps I use to make this mirror frame. If you need additional information, it's available at www.zannjones.com. So let's get started with the making of the steel cactus. The cactus was cut out of a 1/4-inch steel plate. On the back side, I welded the bolts directly to the steel plate, which will be used to bolt the frame together. I ended up welding the bolt head directly to the steel plate, and as you can see, the area is fairly wide, and this will mean that you'll have to use a router to route out the area that's going to be projecting into the yoke. It's not really a problem, but in retrospect, I think I would have preferred to cut the length of bolt I needed using a bolt cutter. The bolt cutter will give you a chisel point at the end of the bolt, and that will reduce the size of the weld that's going to be projecting into the yoke. Either method would work, but in retrospect, I think if I was doing another one, I would use a set of bolt cutters to cut the length of the bolt. So let's move on to the front side. On the front face of the cactus, I used the grinder to remove the mill scale, leaving behind the shiny metal surface. To preserve that shiny appearance, I sealed it using DuPont Chroma Clear. It's an automotive clear coat. I've been using DuPont's super productive line because of the relatively short flash time. The short flash time allows me to apply multiple coats in a relatively short time. I have also tried the crystal clear acrylic coating that comes in a spray can, but I have not been very happy with the finished product. The coating seems to leave a dull finish, and I've also noticed some hairline cracks in a finish that I applied maybe 10 years ago on a project. The automotive clear coat is more work to use, but you do end up with a superior product. For the wood portion of the mirror frame, I used oak. To give a more three-dimensional look, I used the router to add depth to the mesas. I also used the router to provide a recessed pocket for the bolts and nuts. The mirror was cut to follow the curvature of the frame. If you're not familiar with cutting glass, you'll probably need to pay somebody to cut it for you. The mirror was attached to the oak frame using mirror clips that I bought at the Home Improvement Center. The clips were actually made for a piece of glass that was thicker than what I was using, so I ended up using silicone to fill the gap between the mirror and the clip. Of course, there's other variations that you can make. On this particular project, instead of using the Saguaro cactuses, I used lightning bolts. The lightning bolts were cut out using aluminum, and I attached the lightning bolts to the oak frame using wood screws. For a completely different variation, on this particular mirror frame, I ended up using steel, wood, aluminum, copper, and fused glass. It just illustrates the endless possibilities that you can come up with if you just play around with it. If you need additional information, it's available at my website, www.zannjones.com.